I'm Sarah Gore, and this is Open House NYC. This week, we're all about living history with homes that stand the test of time. We're inside the oldest continually inhabited home in New York City. And we're taking a special trip to this island's most unique and famous home. Revolutionary War history lives on at this Brooklyn beauty. But before all of that, we soak in the Gilded Age glory of this Park Avenue apartment.
The first impression is, wow. The coffered ceiling, the paneled walls, all that wonderful Stanford white Gilded Age history right before your eyes.
Welcome to Open House NYC, everyone. Today's show explores living history, so it's only fitting that I am coming to you from this elegant townhouse in Harlem. Built in 1920 in the Italianate style, this 19-foot wide home has been meticulously restored to its original glory, from its striking facade to these chic interiors designed in part by the renowned Sheila Bridges. Drama abounds here on the parlor floor with 11-foot ceilings and original details like pocket doors, stained glass windows, and 2 original mantels. The modern kitchen features these 12-foot shuttered bay windows that lead out onto the deck for alfresco entertaining. And there's even a staircase down to the serene garden. Each of the bedrooms are sanctuaries, including this principal suite with restored mahogany closets and a luxe marble bathroom. While this home pays homage to the neighborhood's rich history and its architecture, the love with which it's been maintained ensures a bright future. We are getting started with interior designer Matthew White at his stunning duplex on Park Avenue. Originally part of a mansion designed by Stanford White of the famed Gilded Age firm McKim Mead & White, the home is a true masterpiece. Check out how every inch has been thoughtfully designed to complement the unique original details. Matthew shows us around.
Hi, I'm Matthew White, an interior designer here in Manhattan with the design firm White Web, and I want to welcome you to my home. The building is located on Park Avenue and is one of the last Gilded Age mansions in existence on this street. The building was built in 1891. The head architect was Stanford White, the notorious and famous and fantastic architect of the Gilded Age. This was originally a single-family mansion that was then carved up into apartments, and I'm lucky enough to just have one of them. So when you enter the home, you first come into what seems like a small, cozy, low-ceilinged entryway, but it opens up into this big, grand room. The first impression is, wow, look at the space. The massive fireplace, the coffered ceiling, the paneled walls, all that wonderful Stanford White Gilded Age history right before your eyes. I'm a preservationist at heart, so I love history, I love original architecture, and this room was just kind of dripping with it, but it was missing some things. And so what I did was I found the perfect silk damask for the walls that would connect the paneling below and the frieze and the coffered ceiling above to make the room a unified whole. Up the spiral staircase is the mezzanine, which we've turned into a music room. There's a little bit of seating up there, but it's the perfect place for the piano. And when we have a party and there's a pianist up there, the whole room is just filled with this music. It's actually perfect. We love it. The master bedroom is sort of a departure from the rest of the apartment. The bedroom reflects a different ancient culture, which is India. The bedroom has 12-foot ceilings, so we had a lot of vertical space to play with. And I took the bed, which I designed, all the way to the ceiling. And it's really a room within the room. And I love that feeling. It's very cozy again and grand at the same time. I think that might be one of the themes of this apartment, is that it's cozy and grand. You know, when a designer designs his own home, there's this sort of pressure to make a statement to the outside world about your ultimate contribution to the world of design or your personal taste. But for me, it really comes down to what I like and what I love. I hope you enjoyed the tour today. It was a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Up next, we are in Brooklyn for a look inside this historical homestead with ties to the Revolutionary War. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Now we're in the Madison neighborhood of Brooklyn for a tour of this lovingly preserved homestead built before the Revolutionary War. It's one of the last privately owned Dutch colonial homes in the city. And in fact, in its long history, this property has only changed hands 3 times. It's a true step back into New York's past.
Hi, I'm Ira Mont. Welcome to the Wyckoff Bennett Mont Homestead in Brooklyn, New York. Built prior to 1766 by the Wyckoff family. It was a 100-acre farm here in Brooklyn. In 1835, the Wyckoffs sold the house and the farm to the Bennett family. In 1983, the widower of the last Bennett sold the house to my parents, Stuart and Annette Mont. That makes the Mont family only the 3rd family to ever own and live in the home in almost 260 years. When the city gridded out the streets in the late 1800s and early 1900s, eminent domain prevailed, and it was move it or lose it. This house was situated not this way, but this way, looking out onto the 100-acre farm. The kitchen was in the middle of East 22nd Street. The house was lifted, rotated, and set in its current position on a newly built basement and foundation. The 100-acre farm was slowly sold off with a ½ an acre of property remaining, the farmhouse and a barn still situated on it. Wandering around the ½ acre, you sometimes feel like you've stepped into another world with its trees, ivy lawn, and grapevines. It really is like having your own private park. As you approach the house, walking up the center path, you are struck with the typical Dutch colonial front porch. The main front door of the house is the original Dutch door, as are all the shutters on the house. Walking into the main entry hall sets the tone for the rest of the house. A lovely cabinet holds many first editions and lots of old study books. Off the main entry hall are 2 parlors, which we call the formal parlor and the informal parlor. Each parlor is a double parlor, one with a fireplace and one without. The family would take coals from the fire into the parlor without the fireplace, which was their sleeping quarters, and warm themselves with those coals. And we have one of those coal warmers still in the house. The tiles around the fireplace are all from the time of the building of the house. The corner tiles are actually original to when the fireplace was built. The 4 parlors and the center entrance hall make for a wonderful space, room to live, work, and a great place to entertain. The first battle of the Revolutionary War was the Battle of Brooklyn, and at the end of the battle, Hessian soldiers who were fighting on the side of the British pounded on the door and demanded to be put up for the night with their servants. While they were here, they scratched their names into 2 panes of glass. As you leave the informal parlor, you enter the kitchen hallway, where the panes of glass with the graffiti from the Hessian soldiers are on display. One of those soldiers was M. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach's great-nephew. Also on display in the hallway is a proclamation from the king, which asked you to turn in neighbors who were against the crown for a reward of 300 pounds. The kitchen combines modern convenience and historical charm. Originally, the kitchen had an attic space above it, very traditional for Dutch colonial houses. We didn't need that kind of storage space, so my father opened it up, creating a cathedral ceiling. And he fashioned the kitchen counter out of some of those planks. All around you can see the original details, like the underside of the shingles on the roof, the beams, and the brickwork for the fireplace. My parents were always lovers of old homes and antiques, but the thing that convinced them to buy this house was a quote from Gertrude Bennett's book, Living in a Landmark. I often wonder about the future of our house and pray that those after us will love it as we do and respect it for its own personality. That's also my hope for the new owners of the Wyckoff Bennett Mont Homestead. I hope you've enjoyed taking this tour with me.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we are exploring island living like you've never seen it before. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now we take a trip out to somewhere we've never been to before on this show, Catalina Island. Located just over 20 miles from the mainland, Catalina Island is an idyllic paradise that definitely feels a world apart from bustling LA. And it's here we explore the Holly Hill House, a Queen Anne-style Victorian overlooking the ocean. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Karen Engman. Today we're here in Avalon on Santa Catalina Island. I wanted to share a really special place of mine here on the island, the Holly Hill House. It was built in 1888 by Peter Gano, and we are the 5th owners. I could sit here and talk about the house all day with you, but let's go take a look inside. Come on. So coming into the house, you come into a room that used to be Peter's workshop. Now we use it as the family room / TV room. And a really cool thing in the room is a rock fireplace that Peter built when he built the house. And he would pay the kids in Avalon to go down to the beach and get little beach rocks and put it in the fireplace. You leave from the family room and you end up here in the kitchen, one of my favorite rooms in the house. In the kitchen, we have the rolling windows that roll into the wall and out. We have a beautiful La Cornue range that we put in when we did the house. We also found beautiful brick walls behind the drywall when we were redoing the kitchen, as well as original rock walls. We elected to leave them exposed because they are just a beautiful architectural point in the house. And in front of the rock walls, I had cabinets built that are backless so you can see the rock behind my collection of Catalina pottery. Coming in from the kitchen, we come into the room that we use as our primary bedroom. It was originally built as the maid's room for the 2nd owners of the house, but we've elected to use it as our primary bedroom because it's right off of the outside patio where we can let our dogs out in the middle of the night. One of my favorite things about the room is the encaustic tile floor, and I of course had to include dog bones in the design. As we come up the stairs, it's a good time to let you know that when we bought the house, this stairway was totally enclosed behind a wall. We elected to open it up and let in some beautiful natural light. Right here we have the hanging bunk room. It's one of our favorite rooms in the house. It's got a sloped roof and 2 great little windows to look out of. Coming through the parlor, it's a really great room just to sit in front of the fireplace and relax on a chilly evening. But the sunroom, is one of my favorite places in the house. The light that comes in here morning, noon, and night, everybody gravitates to this room, and it's where we have coffee in the morning and wine at night and look out on the city and the harbor and just people watch. It's a great place to be. When we bought the house, the windows that were here were of a size that would not have been possible during the 1880s when the house was built. So we had them all reconfigured to be sizes that could have been manufactured and made at that time. So this is the 2nd floor. When we come back, we'll go up to the 3rd floor where Peter Gano, the builder of the house, had his private bedroom.
There's still more to come with the Holly Hill House, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As promised, here's more of the Holly Hill House on Catalina Island. Take a look.
Welcome to the 3rd floor. Now we're in Peter's bedroom. This is Peter's bed that he slept in when he was here living in the house. On the walls we have Morris & Company wallpaper, so it's period specific. We have some antique personal grooming items, and then out the doors we have the deck off of Peter's bedroom. At times over the years, the deck had been covered up, it had been opened back up, it had been covered up. We elected to open it back up, and now we have another lovely place to sit outside and enjoy the town of Avalon. As you come into Avalon Harbor, there's 2 structures that you notice. One is the casino and the other is Holly Hill House. This house used to be all by itself over here on this side of the city for years and years after Peter built it. Now it's one of our favorite places to come up with a cocktail at night and look out over the harbor and stay cool. The house was originally called Lookout Cot when Peter built it. After the Giddings bought it, they renamed it Holly Hill House. I'm standing right below the original Lookout Cot sign. Peter created it with sea glass and beach rock that he collected at the time. Above it is also an original panel of abalone shell. So now we're up on the pool level. This is one of the best places to sit back, have a glass of wine, take in all the sights of nature and the island, and have the house as the background. We also have a shade structure that we did add, and then our Baja ledge, which is where you'll find me most of the time. So every home has little features that each owner adds to it. One of the ones we added was a concrete bar overlooking the harbor. And what I added to that were paw prints of one of my favorite rescue dogs that I had, Tommy. And you can see his little paw prints running through the top of the bar. So thanks for joining me on this tour of Holly Hill House. We had a lot of fun restoring this home to its original glory. Now it's time for me to go have a glass of wine on the Baja ledge.
Coming up, we check out the oldest continually inhabited home in New York City. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now we take a look at the Lent Riker Smith homestead in East Elmhurst, Queens. It's known as the oldest continually inhabited private residence in the city. It was built in the mid-1600s, but since the mid-70s, it's been owned by Marion Duckworth Smith. She takes us in for a closer look.
I'm Marion Duckworth Smith. Welcome to the oldest private home in New York City, the Lent Riker Smith homestead, circa 1654. So come on in and I'll give you a personal tour. The reason that the house is called the Lent Homestead is because very often people adapted the name of the village they came from. The Rikers were among the first Dutch settlers, so it originally was Ricken van Lent, which was Rikers of Lent. The reason why the house is called the Lent Riker Smith Homestead, because now it contains my family history as well. These are the pictures of my family, my father, Charles Asensi, and his brothers, who went to World War I in 1917. Although the house was originally settled in 1654, we're now standing in the 1729 edition of the home. I'd like to point out that this is the original pine staircase with the peg-leg banister. There was a fire here in the 40s and this floor was burned out, so we tried to match it as best we could to the original 1729 wide plank pine floor in the living room and the library. This is the formal living room. The first time I saw the house in November of 1979, it didn't look anything like this. I've brought this house back to life, and I've lived my fairy tale. So in this room, you see some of my passions. In memory of my brother Charles, who died of AIDS in 1988, I bought a walk-on in a Broadway show for 15 years and collected lots of memorabilia. Carol Channing's necklace from Hello Dolly, Glenn Close's ring for Sunset Boulevard. The hat is an original from A Chorus Line. The 1888 Steinway Grand was custom rebuilt for me as a gift from my husband because this neighborhood was known as Steinway back in the day. So now we're standing in the original part of the house. This room was also known as a keeping room back in the day, where the family lived, where they cooked their meals, where they slept. These are ledges that I found in the attic, which hadn't been touched in 100 years. This room also contains some of my father's World War I artifacts. Now you've seen some of my collections, but let me take you into my toy room. I'm a child of the 40s, and I love toys. And if you went to Coney Island and you won a prize, you usually got what is known as carnival chalkware. This is an original Coney Island carousel horse, circa 1915. But the history doesn't stop here on the inside. Let me take you outside. You're looking at an acre of land. I have a front garden, a side garden, a secret garden, and a gingerbread house. So now let me show you something that no other house has in New York City. On our second date with my future husband, I inquired, where are we going? And he said, how would you like to see my cemetery? We're now standing in the Riker burial ground. 132 Riker and Riker descendants are buried here. One that died at Valley Forge, the former caretaker, who was a retired veterinarian and lived here with 47 dogs and 33 cats. And now it also houses my family plot. My mother, my brother, my sister, my husband, and I'll be there to haunt anybody who comes along and tries to destroy my good work. Thank you for coming on the magical tour of the Lent Riker Smith homestead, where dreams come true and my fairy tale is fulfilled. I give tours, so come visit me.
Thanks for watching. Like what you see on the show? Well, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have so many more beautiful homes to share. It's all about love. Share these homes, you know?